So I'm currently getting my certification in hypnotherapy. And one thing that you said just now, which I thought about, so in hypnotherapy, what I've learned is every thought creates an emotional, a physical reaction in the body. So are mental health and emotional health two completely different things, or are those things like intertwined together, or does one play into the other?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
There is nothing in our system that is not intertwined.
Okay.
Our system is one system.
One system. Okay.
Right? If I sprain my ankle, I'm going to feel it in my neck because I'm now pushing more weight on the other leg. I'm probably walking differently, which is pushing weight on my hips, which is pushing weight on my lower back, which is putting weight on my neck and my shoulders. I will feel it in my jaw if I sprain my ankle, if you are attuned enough, right? And so there is no part of our system that is dissociated from the other system.
Okay.
And now we know from science that there's something called the vagus nerve. Some people call it the vagus nerve, but when I think of Vegas, I have lots of other associations. So it's not Vegas for me, it's the vagus nerve. And vagus is actually a Latin word for the wanderer, the wandering nerve. And it's the second largest nerve after the sciatica nerve. And actually it's a two-way highway. This nerve sits at the base of your brain. This nerve connects your brain to your heart, to your gut, to your kidneys, to your liver, to your all major organs of your body, except I think the adrenals or the pancreas. One of the organs it doesn't connect to. But literally, your brain is connected to all of them. So if your gut is not happy, you are not happy. You know, when we say you are what you eat, you literally are what you eat. You eat junk food, guess what, guys? Don't think you're going to feel like a superpower when you're eating Doritos, right? It's just not going to, and no, I'm not hating on Doritos. I love Doritos,
Yeah.
but you know, in moderation is good. But this is about if you eat things that have a shelf life that are dead, you know, the shelf life of 15 years and they're dead, guess what you're going to feel? You're going to feel dead because that's what's being communicated to your brain. And so your gut health is absolutely linked to your mental health. And there are probiotics. And when you take probiotics, you can actually relieve certain anxieties and other sort of symptoms in your body. So 100%. And there's so much research now done on the placebo effect. I can give you a Tic Tac and I can say this is an anti-anxiety medication, and you are symptom-free as if you had the anti-anxiety medication. There's a placebo group, there's an anti-anxiety medication group, and then there's a nothing, they were told nothing group, and they were given nothing group. These guys had the same impact. Now that's the power of the mind. So the mind absolutely is in charge of the physical body, and I can actually throw myself into a full-on fight or flight response, sitting in the Maldives, on the beach, sipping a drink, and think of my boss and freak myself out into where my body thinks it's being chased by a lion, just by thinking. So of course, you can do that. Of course, there is no disconnect between the mind and the body. And the research is endless for those who want to believe. And for those who don't want to believe, they will still try to segment these two things out where they look at it very, very medically, and they look at it very, very myopically and very, very fragmented. It's not like that. The liver is connected to the kidneys, they're connected to the gut, which is connected to the heart, which is connected to the brain. It's all one, guys. We are one system.
Yeah. So are there different, would you handle a session differently if you're trying to treat, I know everything's connected, but are there different, I guess, approaches for approaching someone's mental health and their emotional health? Or is it, if we can work on the mental health, the emotional health would go along with it? Or are there different approaches that you take? You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, you know, this mental word is really just stupid. I'm sorry, I can't think of a better word right now, but calling it mental is actually not accurate. It's brain health versus emotional health, you know, and brain health is linked to your physical health and your emotional health. So they're all feeding into each other, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't like this word mental health. I don't know who decided to come up with it, but I actually don't think so. When I'm talking about emotional health, I'm talking about mental health, but you might be saying, is brain health different from
Yeah,
emotional health?
exactly.
And I'm going to say that it's all one. And they usually will, if someone comes to me, my first thing I'm going to ask them, are you sleeping 7 to 8 hours? I'm going to say, are you eating healthy foods? Are you exercising? If you're not, we're literally operating from like a zero tank here. So you're basically telling me that you want to work on all these things to make yourself feel better. But we know from the hard research coming out of UC Berkeley and other, amazing universities that you are more reactive if you don't get 7 to 8 hours of sleep. So now you're more anxious, you're more depressed, you're more tired. And now you're coming to me for 1 hour a week saying, teach me something to be less anxious. But you're not willing to make that commitment to go to bed earlier or to work on that sleep hygiene, to really find a way to lock that in. So, but I actually say, focus on the physical health and the mental health will follow. Now, the mental health will follow, but you still have to learn some skills. But if you're not doing the basic bare minimum, just like basically, I let my kids stay up as late as they want. They watch Netflix until whatever time they want. They don't go, eat healthy. They eat whatever they want. They can order burgers and pizzas every day of the week, every hour of the week. They eat junk food and Snickers. They don't get any movement. They just literally sit all day, and maybe they do their homework. And what do I exactly expect these kids to be capable of learning in therapy if they're not even doing the basic? And so I think you're literally asking for a miracle if you are not in physical health to get mental health or emotional health. They're not, they're not, it's necessary, but not sufficient. So it is necessary to have physical health, but it's not enough. So you do need to work on building the skills like anxiety management skills and, cognitive behavioral therapy skills and these types of skills. You need that, but you definitely cannot exist without that, without having good practices in place.
Yeah. So like you said, you need to have at least the basic physical foundations, down so that any therapy or anything that from a mental perspective that you're trying to accomplish is actually going to work because the two play hand in hand, right?
100%.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. And that's sleep was a big one that I didn't consider for years. And then I read this amazing book by I think Matthew Walker or something, and it completely changed my perspective on sleep because I thought, oh yeah, 6 hours is enough. And then he like shows you the math and you're like, oh my God, I need to start sleeping more. It's crazy how important it is.